Ooh. Just, hanging out by myself. Pretty cool. I don't know if I should close the door. Looks like it gets quieter. Hello. Hi. I'm just sitting here for a minute. If anyone is wanting to sit with me for a minute as I'm waiting. Just waiting for a minute. Oh, wow. People are showing up. I would ordinarily show everyone my cat right now as I'm waiting, but she just ran away. And I'm not sure if she's coming back. I'm gonna go look for her. Creepily hover like a ghost, a poetry ghost. And I'll probably start in a minute. So, yeah. Before I start, I guess. Oh, hi. Ooh, I'm getting hearts. I just moved here 24 hours ago. And so this is the situation we've got. Mattress on the floor. Didn't put together. Got some stuff over there. And then the rest of the apartment looks crazy. I'm living in Madison now, and it's great. There's a lot of spiders in my apartment. That's sort of the update on that. Okay. I don't know. I guess I'll just start. Okay. So I think probably most of you would know. Yay, Madison! Tiana! Yeah! Probably most of you know who I am, but my name is Leila Chatti, and I am very excited to do this reading. This is the first time I've ever used Facebook Live, so I don't know, I feel like I'm in the future, and that's cool. Yeah, so thank you, Sundress Publications, and thank you, Sam, for inviting me and making me part of, 2017. I'm using Facebook Live. It's cool. These are my jammies. Thank you. Thank you for my shirt. Yay! My shirt, I got it from a Goodwill outlet. I didn't even know there were outlets for Goodwill. That's crazy. It was probably 10 cents. I don't know because I weighed it, but I think it was 10 cents. Yeah, okay, cool. So I guess I'm going to start reading in a second. Yeah. Okay, let me get this setup going. Oh, I wish I could see a time clock somewhere, on something so I know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to make this bigger and not have any other distractions on my screen. Yeah! Okay, ready. Here we go. Okay. The first poem I'm reading, it's called Muslim Girlhood. I never found myself in any pink aisle. There was no box for me with glossy cellophane like heat and a neat packet of instructions in 6 languages. Evenings I watched TV like a religion I moderately believed. I watched to see how the others lived, not knowing I was the other. No laugh track in my living room, no tidy and punctual resolution waiting. I took tests in which Jane and William had so many apples, but never a friend named Khadija. I fasted through birthday parties and Christmas parties and ate leftover tagine and tried not to complain. I prayed at the wrong times in the wrong tongue. I hungered for Jell-O and Starbursts and margarine, could read mono and diglycerides by 5, and knew what gelatin meant, where it came from. When I asked for anything good, like Cedar Point or slumber parties, I offered a quick inshallah, as in, can Jordan sleep over this weekend, inshallah, peeking at my father as if he were a god. Sometimes I thought my father was a god. I loved him that much. And the news thought this was an impossible thing. A Muslim girl who loved her father assumed every Muslim girl heart was a bomb, her love suspicious. But what did they know of my heart or my father, who knew it, and so drove 50 miles to buy me a doll like a Barbie because it looked like me? Short brown hair underneath her hijab, unthreatening breasts and feet flat enough to carry her as far as she wanted to go. In my games, she traveled and didn't marry, devoured any book she could curl her small, rigid fingers around. I called her Amira because it was a name like my sister's, though I think her name was supposed to be Sarah, that drawled A so like sorry, which she never, ever was. Okay. Ooh. So, yeah, that appeared in Narrative, and I'm very grateful to them for that. This next poem came out really recently, and I'll just start it. It's called When I Tell My Father I Might Begin to Pray Again. He says he's never really stopped speaking to God. Says it's in his DNA, asking for things. 21 years he bowed before the bed, us children in a row behind him, crushing our foreheads earnestly to the floor. I can't remember the last time I clasped my hands above my breast and yearned for God in that formal way, but my father possesses an exact date. Christmas, 7 years back, the final Jummah, after which he walked out into the blinding snow. O ye who believe. If there exists in my blood a map, it is one I keep folded for fear of where it does not lead. God, I want so badly to speak with you, not for aid or for proof of my goodness, but to feel again your presence in my life, undeniably there, like my father's hand on mine, in this still and inscrutable dark. And that appeared in Virginia Quarterly Review in the summer issue. Yay, this is cool. Okay, so this next one is, it's called Motherland. And I wrote it in response to the election of our president, our current president. And it happened like 3 days after the election. And yeah, anyways, Motherland. What kind of world will we leave for our mothers? My mother calls me weeping. I am far, and the country she gave me could kill me. Or that's what she's saying, her voice clumsy with tears. My mother who never cries, and so for this too apologizes. Sometimes more often I want to mother my mother. I've begun to wonder what it is like for her to have 4 hearts outside her body, buried in brown and fragile skin. I never wanted this for my children, my mother sobs from a Michigan town where once men crowded in white cloaks, their sons still there lingering at drugstores and gas pumps with steely guns and colder eyes. What do you tell a mother you love too much to lie to? My mother named me Leila because it was a song white men played on air guitars, which meant she'd hoped they couldn't hate me. I'm so scared now for Rashid, even with his blonde hair. My mother thought her blood might protect us in this country from this country, her fair genes and cast-aside Catholic God. Thinks now she failed us as children because she only ever told us stories of monsters we wouldn't recognize. Mother, I know these men could be your brothers and do not blame you. She weeps. I am far, and the country monstrous. What kind of world do we mother, knowing what it is, what it's capable of? The long night stretches between her window and mine. As if comforting a child, I say the word kind, as in the world is still kinder than we think. I believe it. Mom, I say, stop crying. No one's leaving this world to anyone yet. So these poems so far are in my chapbook Tunsiya-Amrikiya, which is coming out in February with Luschei Press. And so this next poem I'm going to read is actually a sort of a pivot poem because it appears in both Tunsiya-Amrikiya and in my chapbook Ebb, which comes out 2 months later in April. With the new generation African poets. So Fasting in Tunis appears in both, so I'm going to read it now. And then I'll read a couple other poems from the other chapbook. Okay. Fasting in Tunis. It's got an epigraph by Robert Haas. Longing, we say, because desire is full of endless distances. My God taught me hunger as a gift, it sweetens the meal. All day I have gone without, because I know at the end I will eat and be satisfied. In this way, my desire is bearable. I endure this day as I have endured years of days without the whole of your affection. Your desire is one capable of rest. Mine keeps its eyes open, stalks through heat that quivers, waits to be fed. The sun burns a hole through the sky, and I am patient. The ocean eats and eats at the sand and still hungers. I watch its wide blue tongue, knowing you are on the other side. What is greater, the distance between these bodies or their need? Noon gapes a vacant maw. There is long to go until the moon is served, white as a plate. You are far and still sleeping. The morning has not yet slunk into your bed, its dreams so vast and solitary. Once, long ago, I touched you, and I will touch you again. Your mouth a song I remember, your mouth a sugar I drink. That appeared in Narrative. This next poem is in the newest issue of Poetry Northwest, and it's called Dressing Before a Mirror in Morning. I look at myself because it is what you would do. It makes me feel close to you. For months only your silence for company, the lack in that way reliable. It hovers too long like a man in the room. Light from the window slips its flush fingers under my blouse. At my hip, gold hairs rise like good pupils, the mirror bright and eager as an eye. I have learned to be a watched thing through years of your gaze, you who claimed you could stay hours waiting for the flash of my skin between buttons, who took such clear pleasure in it. I felt like a god, or at least a woman one might love into suffering. I fix myself in that stare, as if I were, as you saw me once, vital, a being worthy of worship, terror. Let me get some water. I hope I'm doing okay on time. Okay. Let's see, I think I am. Yeah, I'm doing good. All right. This next poem is called Autumn Aubad with Pigeons, and it's got an epigraph by John James Audubon, and it's from his section on the passenger pigeon. So, and there are a lot of pigeons in this poem. The epigraph. When an individual is seen gliding through the woods and close to the observer, it passes like a thought, and on trying to see it again, the eye searches in vain. The bird is gone. Early orange cold in my lap, drinking tea and sucking the honeyed spoon, I heard them, coos like groans. I thought them lovers in another house. All these solitary gilded mornings with the bruise-necked birds. How long since last your breath stirred the wisps at my nape to wake me? I flew an ocean to escape you. Overhead, pigeons like a thought settling. One dove, a shadow past the window. Still unsummoned, you flutter back. Once the sky blackened with birds for miles, dusky swaths of living cloud, 1,000 wings thundering.
I can't imagine it, looking up into the sudden dark or the swell of sun returning like a second clumsy dawn. I loved so much I thought I would never see around it. But long ago the skies were emptied. Unobstructed, the light tumbles in. And then a couple of poems from my manuscript in progress. So this first one is called Confession, and it appeared in Plowshares last year, or this year, I guess. It has an epigraph from when Mary, Mother of Jesus, was giving birth in the Quran, which we have like the full sort of delivery explained, and that does not appear in the Bible. So I was rereading that when I was sick, and I was very interested in something that she says when she's giving birth, because I thought it was, I don't know, if you don't think it's fascinating, I think you're boring. So, but she says, which is the epigraph, "Oh, I wish I had died before this and was in oblivion, forgotten." Mary giving birth, the Holy Quran. Truth be told, I like Mary a little better when I imagine her like this, crouched and cursing, a boy god pushing on her cervix. I like remembering she had a cervix, her body ordinary and so like mine. Girl sweat lacing rivulets like veins in the sand, her small hands on her knees, not doves but hands, gripping, a palm pressed to her spine, fronds whispering like voyeurs overhead. Oh, Mary, like a god I too take pleasure in knowing you were not all holy that ache could undo you like a knot. And, suffering, I admire this girl who cared for a moment not about God or his plans, but her own distinct life, this fiercer Mary who'd disappear if it saved her, who'd howl to hell with salvation if it meant this pain, the blasted adolescent who squatted indignant in a desert, bearing his child like a secret she never wanted to hear. This next poem appeared in the New Virginia Quarterly also, and it's called Mubtadiya, which is Arabic for a beginner, and it's used in reference to one who sees blood for the first time, menstrual blood. And there's also a quote from the Quran. One second. Okay. And indeed, appointed over you are keepers, noble and recording. They know whatever you do. Hidden in a dim stall as the muezzin called all worshippers to prayer, I touched privately the indelible stain, and watched, with a nascent sense of kinship, the women washing through the interstice of the door, their veils slipping off like water, water spotting their clothes like rain. I thought the thought only children and the pious believe, that I was just like that, no longer a girl. The blood my summons, blot like a seal, a scarlet membership card slid from my innermost pocket. I was newly 12, and wise enough to be frightened. I had read the book and so understood my own was now opening, alighting onto my shoulders like some ethereal bird, flapping briefly immaculate wings, and understood too that I myself engendered the ink with which on its pages my sins would forever be written. Not literally, but this was how I imagined it, metaphor, as the blood brought God's recorders like sharks to me, Menarche a red flare, a matador's crimson cape. I had not been good all my life, but until this first vermilion drip I live unobserved, my sins not sins because no one looked. And now, above like a lamp suddenly ablaze, God's reproachful eye turned my way, a searchlight eternally searching and seeing and seeing. I was as good as I would ever be. In the dark, the ruddy iris stared back at me. Okay. I think like two more. So this is called Sarcoma, and it appeared in Tin House. When the doctor says the word sarcoma, I consider how it might be a nice name for a daughter, that good feminine A, The way parents name their children for all sorts of inappropriate things. Apples, for instance, or the place where the baby was conceived. And I trace my fingers over the barrow of my belly as he speaks, flesh distended beneath the blue tissue I wear for a dress, an ideal grief frock, throwaway. And he says something about life expectancy, but of course I expect my life, so plain I thought nothing would ever take it. And while he explains, I cup my palms around my center, as if comforting a child or covering its ears. Yeah, and I think this will be the last poem that I read. Thanks for, sitting with these. This last one is called Mother, and it appeared also in Virginia Quarterly. They were very kind to me. Okay, Mother. If you had asked me, 13, what I wanted to be one day, I wouldn't have said it. I wanted, for a long time, to be anything but myself. Knew that a soon-to-be woman was the second worst thing in the world after a woman, full stop, and I was heading there fast. I could see it, my breasts rudely nudging into view, their snug caps like the knit caps of infants, rosy-colored as a tongue. And how terrifying the thought of a mouth there rooting, and what could be drawn from me that I didn't need. What else skulked in me unseen, unstirring in secret vats with milk yet untapped, and blood, the strange new wellspring? I was just beginning to understand the possibilities, my body's elusive independent workings, machineries chugging away in dark chambers not just left to, but simply their own devices, unknowable and sovereign. What I wanted, always, to be in control. And I knew this was impossible, just as I knew, even then, that to be a mother was to be the only permissible form of a woman, the begrudging exception to the rule of her worthlessness. So if you asked me again, 23, I'd tell you the worst thing you could be is not a woman, but barren, the industry shut down and the parts missing, malformed. And I'd tell you the shame of it, the feminine failure, its ache a reminder, at the center, the tumor ballooning like hope. Nice downer to end you guys on. Yay! You made it through. So I think now I've kept you for a while. If you have questions for me or just anything, I'm opening up on Facebook so I can see them better than I can see on the screen. Yeah, but if you have any questions for me, I would love to answer them. So, yeah. How do I do this? Let me see. Do I just see them on the screen? I guess I'm just seeing them on the screen. And, oh, thanks, guys. Gosh, these are so nice. Oh, I can see them. I see comments. There they are. Cool. Yay! Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I'm here. I can answer any questions. I can stay all day because I'm putting off packing, unpacking, so. So, Ooh. Oh, post about ambition. Talk about ambition. Yeah, I love to talk about ambition. So, I'll talk about that first. I have a lot of feelings about women and ambition. I think that that women who are ambitious are seen as selfish. I think that those usually go hand in hand in a way that they don't go with men. And I think I've had a lot of difficulty standing by my choices to pursue my career as opposed to becoming a mother or trying to become a mother or becoming a wife or those kind of things. And that it's seen as like a defect that I sort of have to make excuses for. And I think also we have a hard time picturing women who are ambitious as being kind or sweet, which I don't understand why that needs to be separate. But it's something that I have a lot of shame about, sort of identifying as ambitious. And like even it comes back to like the whole Harry Potter, like Slytherin house is the ambitious house, that's their like key trait is that they're ambitious, and that I always identified as being ambitious, and so is Slytherin, and so I was very confused as to why they were the bad guys. So I think that's a philosophy or a belief that exists outside, and I think that especially applied to women, it's seen as something,
negative that you should be ashamed of, but I am ambitious and proud, and yeah, cool. Yay, Harry Potter. Do I ever feel the dreaded imposter syndrome? Yeah. I still don't understand what's happening most of the time. I really like writing poems. I'm alone most of the time, and it's great to know that there are people out there who are interested in that. But I'm just very bad at sort of celebrating myself or recognizing when I've done something well, and I think there's also some gendered things in that too, that women are sort of used to undercutting themselves and underselling themselves. So when someone tells you that you're good at something, you don't believe it, or you have to be humble, so you knock it down like 10 notches. But no, I don't. I'm learning to believe in myself, but it's very hard. How do I deal with the pressure to produce and publish? Ooh, yeah, that's hard. I take breaks. I purposely try not to check online until like evening, like as if I was working all day until like 5 or 6. Then I try not to go like on the internet much until that point, and I try to be really strict about it. And I do that so that I don't have to see like everyone's great news all at once, which is great. I love everyone's great news, but it makes you feel like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough, and then that's paralyzing. So in terms of just daily like focusing on myself, I give myself that time to be working, and I'm very lucky to have had that time blocked off. But also I take months off sometimes. Like last year I took the month of August off from sending any work out, which I know doesn't sound very long, but for me that felt like forever, but it felt like enough time to remember why I was writing in the first place, which was for myself to like figure stuff out. Yeah. So I think that it's important to take breaks. There's always going to be the next, big exciting poem or prize or something that somebody's going to be getting, and it could be you, and it could also not be you, and it would be fine. So I just try to remember that. And if I feel like I'm not writing poems that I'm excited about, like taking time away from the whole world to re-fall in love with poems. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. I can scroll through these. Let me see. Oh my God, this is just like it's all new to me. Sorry if I missed some questions in here. Where am I off to next? Mary, I am in Madison, Wisconsin for the next year. I signed a lease. I haven't had a lease in years. I'm here for a year, and I'm really excited about it. I have all my stuff here. So, yeah, that's cool. Some things I like to do that aren't poetry related. I'm like looking at 2 screens. Some things I like to do that aren't poetry related, that sounds impossible because I feel like all my day is doing poetry, but it is important to do other things. I really like thrifting. Like, I know that shopping shouldn't necessarily be a hobby, but it is. I get all of my stuff secondhand, so I like doing that. And I love photography. I have a collection of I think 30 something cameras now, mostly film. And I like to play with cameras. So I do those things. But unfortunately or fortunately, like literally 90%, 95% of my day is reading poetry, writing poetry, talking about poetry, reading all y'all's posts about poetry. So, yeah, I need to build some hobbies. Yeah. Oh, Taylor, you had asked about the 2 chapbooks. I'm really excited you asked that because they are like super related, and I'm so excited they're coming out at the same time. So Tunisian-American is more about like my childhood and adolescence and sort of developing as a person, about like being both Tunisian and American. So the title, when you say the word American in English, it can be a noun obviously as well as an adjective, and to say someone, that person's an American or whatever, there's no gender associated. But in Arabic, there is. And so the word Tunsiya is like a Tunisian, but like a female Tunisian, and Amrikiya is a female, American. And so that's where the title comes from. But yeah, so that is mostly family poems about, childhood and just sort of developing both those these parts and the ways that they intertwine a lot. At first I tried writing two separate chapbooks, like one that was Tunisian and one that was American. It was like 1,000,000,000% impossible because all the poems were like, is this Tunisian or is it American? Because I don't really know. And then that's like the point of the chapbook, I guess. And so I merged those drafts together to make Tunsiya and Amrikiya instead of two distinct chapbooks. And I really like it because I feel like it's important, I don't know, to show where I come from before all the other things that I'm interested in and things that I feel and care about. Like at the core of who I am is sort of Tunsiya Amrikiya, like what made me is in there, more or less, or at least my culture and my family. But the other chapbook, Ebb, also takes place in Tunisia in the US, but is extremely different because it doesn't involve my family at all. It involves sort of the dissolution of a relationship that I had for 13 years. And so that is completely different. It's like a very personal sort of, address sort of chapbook, whereas the other one is much more like community chapbook, so sort of more of a bigger experience than just sort of my own individual one, even though it is about my individual family. It's, I think bigger than that. And then the other one is like a very personal, like introspective chapbook, but it happens to take place in both Tunisia and the United States and sort of about longing and grief. So I think it's cool because both of them are both in Tunisia and in the US. It starts sort of in summer and ends sort of in winter. So they both follow these like similar arcs, and that just was a happy coincidence. So I think that they'll be interesting because stylistically they're very different. Subject matter, they're fairly different, but they take place in these similar arcs. I don't have any broadsides available. I should make some, probably, or find someone to make some. That'd be fun. But what motifs have been a surprise to myself? That's an interesting question. I've been surprised by a lot of the directions I'm pulled towards. I think like most recently, wow, I didn't mean for that to be like a really dramatic pause, but most recently I've been really interested in shame and anger, which I think is surprising to me just because, I don't think that, I think those things exist in my work, but not in ways that feels like super, on the nose or something always. And I feel like this real pull to work in that direction. I think it's surprising to me because I think those are things that I try to push aside in myself. So I think that it's surprising that I feel this desire to write that part when in my personal life, I feel like I try so much to deny that part exists. So that's been surprising, I think. What books or poems have helped me learn to re-love poetry? Oh man, so many. But I would say my touchstone books. Marie Howe's What the Living Do. I think every time I return to that book, I feel like poetry is going to be forever important, and it's going to always be there for me. I don't know, it's an easy read, not in terms of content. It's extremely difficult in terms of content, but I think it's a quick sort of read because of those long lines and the way that her her language works. So I never feel like I'm really struggling to read through it again. I've probably read through it like 30 times. But I fall in love every time, and it's always brilliant in a new way. Who else? Dorian, my teacher. I'm sorry, I'm hacking up along. Oh my god, I haven't talked this much. I'm always by myself. Dorian's work, Dorian Lux. I just think that she's so fun, and I just like all her books. So if I'm ever feeling lonely or I need to remember why I do this in the first place, I read her work. But there's a lot of people. I really like Franz Wright. I really like Mahmoud Darwish.
I like Louise Glück is one of my favorites. I've got just like her massive Everything on Earth book and all of her other stuff just like individually, but that one I carry around with me, which is very heavy to carry around with you constantly, but I do. And I just will like open it up and be like, all right, I guess we're reading from here this week. Even though I've read it a bazillion times, it's just brilliant. And I think she's brilliant. And I can reread that all the time. And still, it does like the thing where you're like, wow, I'm probably never going to be this good. But then you're also just like, I'm going to go write some poems. Screw it. So Louise Glück is that person for me, where I think she's brilliant. I'm never going to be that brilliant, but she makes me want to write. So, yeah. The Orange Book of Gluck. I love that. The Orange Book of Gluck. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, any cover ideas? Ross says he's got a cover for me, and I'm not seeing it yet, so I think everyone should tag Ross in this and say, where's that cover at? Because I'm trying to look at it. But I think it's going to be coming soon, and I'm really excited to see what it looks like. Because then it will feel so real. Yeah. I don't want to miss anyone's questions. I'm like looking through to see if anyone has any questions. Ooh, I like the definition of ambition. It is earnest. I'm earnest. I think I'm an earnest person. Someone described me as earnest, and I really took that as a compliment. I don't know if it was meant to be, but I like that. Yeah. Did I miss anything? I don't want to miss anyone's questions. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else that anyone wants me to talk about? Or I can just say good night to you all with my Starry Night shirt, which would match. Oh, yay! Thank you! This is really fun. I enjoyed this. I hope it was good for you. I'm sorry my throat is acting out, but it's been fun and exciting. Yeah. Ooh, Ian, coming in with a good, personal question. Yeah, I'm alone all the time. I've been alone primarily, I think for 2.5 years, where I spend most of my time alone, and I think that it does get very lonely. I think it can be hard to balance, taking care of yourself and that focus, and I don't think I have a good balance of that. But I am one of those people who needs to hyper focus, and so I like to withdraw and surround myself with books and work on something all day, every day, for months. And I'll produce a lot, but obviously it damages my personal relationships with friends and family. So I need to get better about it. I even here, I just moved to Madison, where I'll be here by myself with my cat. So I don't know. That's I think the internet has been greatly helpful in terms of having a larger community when you spend a lot of time by yourself. Reading is it's sort of the biggest community is knowing that people think the way you do and have experienced similar things to the way you do, and I think that sort of defeats the deeper loneliness that I think a lot of us have, even when we're surrounded by people. It's who am I and why am I on this planet, and existential kind of questions of so that way I feel I'm not that lonely. But on a day-to-day, in terms of is someone going to be eating dinner with me? Yeah, it's lonely. And I am lucky that in Provincetown, there were other writers and artists around, so I could spend time with them, and they understand sort of this need to withdraw and work. And then also the need to socialize and be a human being. And I hope that I will also have that here with Tiana especially, but the whole crew of people and the new people I'll get to meet. But it's hard, and I think that it's important because the work, as great as it is just work, and it's not a life by itself. And so reaching out using online communities. Those kind of things I think help. So, yeah. I swear I'm not like just like a super sad, lonely person, but I do spend a lot of time alone. Yeah. Let's see. False dichotomy. Into music or visual art? Oh, man. Would I rather have my poetry be music or visual art? I think music. I don't know. Like, I feel like I enjoy looking at art, visual art, but I felt the most similar to, like, when I'm reading something that really moves me, that the closest thing that I've experienced is hearing a piece of music that sort of swells or, like, I don't know, draws about the same emotion. So I think music, because I haven't ever experienced that with something visual. So I think, yeah. I don't know, is anyone out there, like, gonna make me a cool symphonic version of my work? Because that'd be awesome. Yay, Tiana, yay! So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys need or want anything else. You can always reach out to me, because, like I said, spend all my time alone. So I am just available to answer any questions. This has been great. And now I feel like I'm just FaceTiming all of you. This is great. Am I, like, blushing? I think maybe. So yeah, cool. I don't know. I guess this is like the poetry last call. If there is anything left that you need to hear from me, you guys are so nice. These are so many nice comments in here. If there's anything else that you need or want to say, there you go. This is your last call. And if not, then I'm gonna go unpack my millions of things. Oh yay. Okay, yay, you guys are so nice. Yay! Cool. I hope you guys all have a lovely evening. And yeah. Oh, yeah, the dive dapper thing. I want to go to that. Maybe I will, because I have a car, so it might be possible to do that. I haven't had a car, and this is my first car in my 27 years of life. And now I'm driving it all over the place. I drove it like 7 hours yesterday, and then 4 hours today. So maybe I might go to dive dapper. That'd be cool. Yeah. Okay. Good night. Hope that was fun. Baby's first car. It is my first car. And I'm like a baby with it. I learned to drive this year. It's been an eventful year. A good year. Cool. Alrighty. Well, that's my love for you. And thanks for sitting with me tonight. My first night in Madison. Well, second night. But first night that feels real with things sort of unpacked. So, alright. Bye, everyone.